Have you ever felt disrespected and didn't know how to react? Or worse, did you try to react and only made the situation worse? Today, we're going to explore 9 attitudes inspired by Stoicism that not only disarm those who don't respect you, but also reinforce your inner peace. Want to know how? Stay with me until the end. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate serenity in the face of adversity. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, said, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In this video, you will discover practical strategies that will transform your approach to disrespect. Shall we go together? Chapter 1. The Art of Silence. Silence is often seen as an empty space, an uncomfortable interval in which words should dwell. But in confrontational situations, silence is actually an invisible force field, capable of repelling attacks and dissipating tension. When someone launches a provocation, anxiously waiting for a reaction, the silence works like a mirror in which the provocateur sees himself alone, unarmed. Imagine an artist who, upon finishing a play, finds the theater immersed in silence instead of applause. The impact is overwhelming. This is silence in the face of disrespect. The great power of silence lies in its ability to break patterns. When you choose not to react, you create a disconcerting pause, a moment of forced reflection for the other side. There is no fuel to fuel the flame of conflict. Every unspoken word becomes a brick, building a wall between you and other people's negativity. In this wall, the echo of malicious intentions dissipates, and the provocateur finds himself confronted with the emptiness of his own actions. Additionally, silence offers a rare moment of introspection. In the heat of provocation, the natural tendency is to fight back, to protect oneself with sharp words or hasty justifications. But by choosing not to react, you gain time to reflect, to observe not only the situation but also yourself. Silence, in this sense, is a form of personal power, a way of asserting control over what really matters, your inner peace. It's like being in the eye of a hurricane, where everything around you spins into chaos, but you remain in absolute calm. However, don't be fooled into thinking that silence is simply the absence of words. It is a language in its own right, rich in nuances and meanings. It communicates strength, confidence, and wisdom. By choosing to remain silent in the face of a verbal attack, you send a powerful message. I don't need to prove anything to you. This simple gesture, but full of meaning, has the power to transform the dynamics of any interaction. On the other hand, silence is also an act of generosity. He gives the other the chance to reconsider his words, to realize his own smallness in the face of his unshakable serenity. It is an invitation, albeit subtle, to self-reflection. After all, there is nothing more shocking than the absence of resistance where a confrontation was expected. And finally, silence is a constant reminder that not everything deserves an answer. There is incredible freedom in realizing that you are not obligated to participate in every discussion you are invited to. Some battles just aren't worth it. And most of the time, the real winner is the one who chooses not to fight. Chapter 2. Control your emotions. Maintaining control of your emotions in moments of tension is like being a conductor conducting an orchestra during a storm. Each emotion is an instrument, and it's up to you to decide which one to play and when. However, emotional control does not come out of nowhere. It is cultivated, just as a gardener takes care of his plants, pruning here, watering there. Temperance, one of the pillars of Stoicism, invites us to navigate the turbulent ocean of emotions with the skill of an experienced captain who knows the tides and winds. When faced with a provocation, the first natural reaction may be anger or frustration. But what would happen if, instead, you took a deep breath and allowed yourself a moment to watch that emotion arise and then disappear? Like passing clouds, emotions come and go, and it is only when we cling to them that we become prisoners of the internal climate. Epictetus teaches us that it is not external events that disturb us, but rather our interpretation of them. Thus, controlling emotions is not about suffocating them, but rather about shaping them like a sculptor who transforms a raw block into a work of art. Those who master their emotions demonstrate strength that goes beyond the physical. This strength is visible in the calm posture, in the serene gaze, in the absence of hasty gestures. It's like a river that runs gently but carries a powerful current underneath. Emotional mastery is an invisible shield that protects not only against external attacks, but also against internal saboteurs. Doubt, fear, and insecurity. Emotional control also allows for a more strategic approach to human interactions. Instead of reacting instinctively, you can respond thoughtfully. Imagine being in a chess match where, instead of impulsively reacting to your opponent's move, you reflect, plan, and make a move that changes the course of the game. This is exactly how emotional control works in practice. However, this skill is not acquired instantly. It requires constant practice, like learning to play a musical instrument or mastering a new language. Every challenging situation is an opportunity for growth. Little by little, you realize that you are no longer a slave to emotions, but rather their master. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not over external events. This inner power is what defines your true strength. In short, controlling emotions is not just a matter of self-control, but also of self-understanding. By learning to navigate your own inner storms, you become a calm and inspiring presence for others. After all, in a world where so many are lost in their own turmoil, being a safe haven is, without a doubt, one of the greatest achievements. Chapter 3. Redefine your perspective. The world is an intricate tapestry of events, actions, and reactions, and within this interweaving, our perspective acts as the guiding thread. The way we see a situation determines whether it will be an unbearable weight or just a stumbling block. Imagine that you are walking in a park and you find a small rock in the middle of the path. Some ignore it, passing by without difficulty. Others stop, irritated, ready to complain about the carelessness of whoever left that obstacle there. The stone, however, remains inert, indifferent to the interpretations attributed to it. This is also life. Challenges are inherent, but the emotional burden we place on them is optional. Redefining perspective is an act of freedom. It's like adjusting the focus of a camera to reveal a larger, previously invisible scene. Often, we get so caught up in a single interpretation of an event that we forget that there is a broader picture available to us. When someone disrespects us, for example, it is common for us to interpret the act as a personal attack. However, when changing the point of view, we realize that other people's behavior generally reflects more on those who practice it than on those who receive it. In this sense, it is liberating to understand that not everything revolves around us. This shift in perspective not only alleviates the emotional weight of situations, but also opens up space for creative solutions. Imagine a sculptor in front of a block of marble. While some see only a shapeless stone, he visualizes the work of art that can emerge from there. Similarly, when we face disrespect or any other challenge, we have the choice to see only the obstacle or the opportunity for growth it offers us. The beauty of life is often in the details we choose to observe. Furthermore, by changing the way we see things, we also transform our experience. Situations that previously seemed unbearable become manageable and even enriching. It's not that problems disappear, but rather that our relationship with them changes. This process is similar to learning a new language. At first, everything seems complicated and strange, but with time and practice, we begin to understand and express ourselves fluently. The language of perspective requires patience and a willingness to see the world with different eyes. Ultimately, the act of redefining perspective is a daily and intentional practice. It is not about denying reality or forcing optimism, but rather seeking a broader and more balanced vision. By doing this, we learn to live with more lightness and resilience, facing life's ups and downs as essential parts of a richer and more meaningful journey. Chapter 4. Set boundaries with serenity. Establishing limits is a subtle but essential art. Imagine a garden where flowers bloom exuberantly. For this garden to flourish, it is essential to create fences that protect it from the elements and invaders. Without these limits, the harmony of the space is quickly compromised. Likewise, in life, personal boundaries are the invisible fences that preserve our emotional and mental integrity. They not only define how far others can go, but they also remind us of what we are willing to accept. There is a powerful tranquility in saying no firmly and calmly. This simple act carries within it the strength of someone who knows and values themselves. When we calmly set boundaries, we send a clear message. Our respect for ourselves is non-negotiable. However, this is not an easy task. In a world that often confuses kindness with submission, setting limits can be seen as an act of rebellion, but in reality, it is a gesture of self-care and mutual respect. When faced with disrespect, our first reaction may be confrontation or withdrawal, but instead, Stoicism invites us to respond with balance, setting firm limits without the need to raise our voice or lose our composure. This posture is not only a demonstration of strength, but also a practical lesson in temperance and wisdom. Like the wind that gently shapes a mountain over the centuries, calmly established boundaries have a profound and lasting impact. Furthermore, boundaries serve as a mirror for others. By showing what is acceptable and what is not, we encourage those around us to reflect on their own behaviors. It is an implicit invitation to respect not only our values, but yours as well. It is fascinating to observe how, by drawing these invisible lines, we create healthier and more balanced living spaces. Limits do not separate. They bring people closer as they make relationships more transparent and authentic. The practice of setting limits requires courage and consistency. We will often have to reaffirm them, especially with those who insist on testing them. But each time we do it, we strengthen our self-esteem and reaffirm our commitment to well-being. It's like reinforcing a bridge after every storm, ensuring it remains solid and safe. In the end, the true beauty of limits is how they free us. By protecting our personal space, we gain the freedom to be ourselves without fear or guilt. And in this freedom, we find the basis for building more genuine and meaningful relationships. Chapter 5. Don't take things personally. Patience is often seen as a passive virtue, a resigned wait for events to unfold. However, it is in fact an active force, a demonstration of mastery over time and over oneself. When faced with disrespectful behavior, patience acts like invisible armor, protecting us from impulsive reactions and words spoken in the heat of the moment. It's the ability to pause, to allow emotions to cool while the world around is frantically shaking. In a universe where haste rules and quick responses are seen as signs of strength, being patient is a revolutionary act. Patience does not mean passively accepting any behavior. On the contrary, it is a calculated gesture, a strategy to disarm the other without the need to lift a single finger. Imagine a chess player who carefully watches his opponent's every move, waiting for the exact moment to deliver the decisive blow. This is what patience is like in human interactions. It creates a space where emotions find balance, where words are carefully chosen, and where actions are taken with full awareness of their consequences. This quality, however, is not acquired immediately. It is cultivated through practice and experience, like a musician who tunes his instrument or a painter who refines his techniques over the years. Each challenging situation offers a new opportunity to exercise patience. Over time, we learn that there is no urgency in responding to provocations or trying to correct other people's behavior. Patience allows us to see beyond the present moment, seeing the bigger picture and acting according to our principles, rather than external pressures. There is an intrinsic power in being patient. While those around may be consumed by ephemeral emotions, the patient maintains his composure like an unshakable rock amidst the waves. This control inspires respect and often disarms even the most stubborn opponents. There is nothing more disconcerting for someone who seeks conflict than finding a wall of tranquility, a presence that does not waver in the face of their efforts. Furthermore, patience offers us the opportunity to better understand the motivations and intentions behind the actions of others. When we resist the urge to react immediately, we give ourselves the gift of understanding. We often discover that the other's disrespect or hostility has deep roots, perhaps in insecurities or pain that are not visible to us at first glance. Patience allows us to access this deeper layer of reality, responding in a more compassionate and effective way. The impact that patience has on our own well-being cannot be underestimated. It protects us from emotional exhaustion, preventing us from allowing ourselves to be consumed by situations that in the end are beyond our control. Like a river that flows smoothly, bypassing obstacles in its path, patience guides us through a journey of serenity, even in the midst of chaos. And in the end, we realize that in a world where everyone runs, true power lies in those who know how to wait. Chapter 6. Use smart humor. Responding to disrespect with dignity is, without a doubt, one of the most challenging and rewarding skills we can cultivate. It is a delicate dance between firmness and elegance, an art that requires self-control and wisdom. When we are the target of hurtful words or attitudes, the temptation to fight back is great. But true strength lies in the ability to stand firm without succumbing at the same level. It's like walking through a minefield. Each step must be taken carefully, aware that the slightest explosion could cause irreparable damage. Dignity is not synonymous with passivity. On the contrary, it is an active manifestation of respect for yourself. It's saying, I value myself enough not to lower myself to other people's provocations. This does not mean, however, that we should swallow everything in silence. There is a way to assert our limits without losing our composure, to position ourselves without giving in to the impulse to attack. Responding with dignity is like holding a mirror up to another, reflecting not only your actions, but also the contrast between aggressiveness and resolute calm. This approach requires a keen awareness of the present moment. When disrespected, it is natural for emotions to come with intensity, anger, frustration, maybe even sadness. However, by taking a moment to breathe deeply, we can create space between the stimulus and the response. In this space lies our freedom to choose how to react. We can choose to respond with words that uplift, rather than demean, or even with silence, which often speaks louder than any speech. Responding with dignity is also a way of educating others. Although not everyone is open to learning, our stance can at least plant a seed. We demonstrate that it is possible to deal with conflicts in a mature and respectful manner, even when the other side does not do the same. And hopefully this attitude can inspire changes, however subtle, in the way others interact with us and the world. Furthermore, by responding with dignity, we protect our inner peace. There is nothing more exhausting than entering a spiral of unnecessary confrontations, where every word said in anger only fuels the flame of conflict even more. Dignity allows us to break out of this cycle, preserving our energy for what really matters. It's like a shield that, instead of returning the attack, simply absorbs it, transforming it into nothing. It is important to recognize that responding with dignity is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It requires courage to resist the urge to fight, to remain calm when everything inside you calls for an explosive reaction. It is a demonstration of maturity and self-control, qualities that not only benefit us, but also uplift the environment around us. Ultimately, dignity connects us to something greater. She reminds us that regardless of circumstances, we always have the power to choose who we want to be. In a world full of confrontations and disagreements, being a dignified presence is like being a light in the midst of darkness, an example that it is possible to live with integrity, even when challenged at every turn. Chapter 7. Practice. Stoic indifference. Stoic indifference is not formless apathy, but a powerful tool for emotional liberation. It allows us to distance ourselves from external circumstances, seeing them as neutral elements, unable to penetrate the fortress of the mind. In this context, what is beyond our control becomes irrelevant, like the distant sound of a storm that does not directly affect us. When practicing this form of indifference, we do not reject the world, but we consciously choose what will have the power to shake us. It's like walking through a chaotic market, where the shouts and hustle and bustle don't disturb those who are focused on their purpose. Adopting this stance is not simple. It requires a re-education of the deepest instincts. From an early age, we are trained to react to the environment, to seek approval, and to fear the judgment of others. However, by allowing ourselves stoic indifference, we break these bonds. This practice begins by recognizing that external events and opinions have no intrinsic value. Just like an artist who chooses his colors carefully, we select which stimuli deserve our attention. There is no need to react to every criticism or offense. After all, words only gain weight when we decide to carry them. Imagine for a moment being in a room full of people arguing fervently. Everyone seeks to impose their opinions, their absolute truths. But you, at the center of it all, remain serene. The world may be on fire, but your inner fire burns in harmony. This is the essence of stoic indifference, a tranquility that is not passive but active, the result of a deliberate choice not to get involved in other people's chaos. The continuous practice of this philosophy transforms everyday life into a lighter experience, where the weight of judgment and expectations disappears like fog at sunrise. This distance, however, does not imply coldness or disinterest in people. On the contrary, stoic indifference allows us to love them without conditions. Since we stop expecting something from them that they cannot offer, we become more generous, as we no longer depend on emotional feedback to justify our gestures. Loving without demanding, forgiving without resenting, all of this becomes possible when we realize that our happiness is not in the hands of others, but firmly anchored in our own being. The daily practice of indifference is like carving a statue from a block of rough marble. Every interaction, every challenge, is an opportunity to polish the edges, to deepen our understanding of what really matters. It is not a quick process, but little by little we are transforming. The old anxieties that once consumed our thoughts are now seen as minor distractions, insignificant in the face of the grandeur of existence. When faced with disrespect or adversity, indifference invites us to look beyond the present moment. The insult that seemed so offensive loses its impact when we realize that it does not change our essence. Just like a river that follows its course, indifferent to the stones in its path, we learn to flow, to continue our journey without being diverted by the small turbulences of life. Epictetus, in his Reflections, reminds us that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but the way we interpret them. Stoic indifference, therefore, is an exercise in constant redefinition. It is an invitation to question our automatic reactions, to free ourselves from the invisible chains that bind us to ephemeral emotions. By embracing this practice, we find an inner freedom that few dare to seek. There is a peculiar kind of strength in those who practice indifference. It is not the strength of muscle or a raised voice, but an unshakable steadfastness, a silent certainty that springs from a deep understanding of oneself. It is like a tree whose roots extend deep into the ground. It may sway in the wind, but it never breaks. When we observe someone who lives this way, we are inspired, challenged to reconsider our own relationship with the world. This power does not come without effort. A daily commitment is necessary, constant vigilance over our thoughts and emotions. Every moment is an opportunity to choose, react or observe, engage or remain serene. The continuous practice of indifference leads us to a state of mind where small worries disappear, and what remains is clarity, a calm presence that allows us to live fully, without the shackles of ego and expectations. In the end, Stoic indifference is more than a technique or a strategy. It is a way of being, a philosophy that guides us towards a more balanced and meaningful life. By incorporating it into our daily lives, we discover that true power lies not in controlling the world around us, but in dominating the internal universe, becoming masters of our own emotions and destinies. Chapter 8. Show empathy. Empathy is a silent language, understood by all, but spoken by few with mastery. It manifests itself not only in the superficial understanding of other people's words, but in complete immersion in their experiences. It's like entering a theater where each person plays a role, and for a brief moment, we wear someone else's costume. We experience their emotions, their dilemmas, their glories and defeats. Showing empathy is not a weakness, but a powerful declaration of humanity, a reminder that, despite our differences, we share the same stage of existence. When we are faced with behaviors that seem incomprehensible or even hostile to us, empathy acts as a filter that allows us to see beyond appearances. She challenges us to abandon hasty judgments, to look at others with genuine curiosity, seeking to understand the invisible forces that shape their actions. This exercise not only brings us closer to others, but also broadens our own perspective. Each interaction becomes a lesson, an opportunity for mutual growth. Practicing empathy requires courage. It is an invitation to leave the comfort zone, where our certainties reign, and venture into the unknown territory of others. Often this means listening more than speaking, allowing silence to fill the spaces between words as we connect on a deeper level. This connection is like a delicate thread that binds souls together, conveying a clear message. I see you, I feel you, and you are not alone. In a world where individuality is often exalted to the detriment of the collective, empathy re-emerges as a transformative force. She reminds us that our stories, while unique, are woven into a larger tapestry. Each act of empathy is like a stitch in this fabric, strengthening the bonds that unite us and challenging the divisions that separate us. It's not about agreeing with everything or passively accepting, but about recognizing the intrinsic dignity of each human being. Furthermore, demonstrating empathy has the power to disarm even the most hardened hearts. When someone feels truly understood, the need to defend themselves or attack often dissolves. It is as if a door opens, allowing light to enter a previously dark and isolated space. This light, fueled by empathy, has the potential to heal wounds, restore relationships, and build bridges where there were previously only chasms. This practice, however, requires a delicate balance. It's not about absorbing the pain of the world to the point of losing ourselves, but about maintaining a compassionate presence without sacrificing our own emotional health. It's like walking on a tightrope, where each step must be taken with full attention and awareness of our own limits. We learn to offer our support without drowning in the turbulent waters of other people's emotions. Along this path, we realize that empathy is as much a gift to ourselves as it is to others. It enriches us, makes us more resilient and more connected to our own humanity. It is an inexhaustible source of strength, proof that even in the darkest moments, kindness and understanding can prevail. As we allow ourselves to feel with others, we discover that empathy is ultimately an expression of love, a love that transcends barriers and reminds us of our shared essence. In practice, empathy teaches us to listen actively, to see beyond words, and to respond with an open heart. It's not about looking for solutions or trying to fix what's broken, but about offering our presence, our understanding silence, and our unconditional support. This stance connects us in an authentic way, creating a safe space where vulnerability can flourish and where others feel truly welcomed. It is important to highlight that empathy is not limited to grand gestures or memorable moments. It often reveals itself in small, everyday interactions. A smile, an attentive look, a gesture of kindness. These seemingly simple actions have the power to transform someone's day, to remind them that, even in the most banal routines, human connection remains essential. Finally, when we incorporate empathy into our lives, we realize that it is not just a social skill, but a way of being. She challenges us to live more consciously and compassionately, to seek not only understanding, but also harmony in our interactions. In a world full of noise and distractions, empathy emerges like a beacon, guiding us back to what is most essential, our ability to love and be loved, to understand and be understood. Chapter 9, Focus on Self-Growth. Focusing on self-growth is embarking on a journey without a final destination, a journey where each step is as important as the next. It is not about reaching a state of perfection, but about accepting the constant process of transformation. It's like cutting a rough diamond, where each facet, no matter how small, contributes to the beauty of the whole. Self-growth challenges us to look inward, face our failures honestly, and celebrate our achievements with gratitude. The modern world, with its incessant search for external validation, often diverts us from this path. We are bombarded by standards, expectations, and comparisons, but self-growth invites us to redefine what really matters. He demands that we abandon the need for others' approval and become the true arbiters of our progress. This requires a particular courage, a willingness to listen to the inner voice, often drowned out by external noise. In this process, there is no room for haste. Each stage must be experienced fully, with patience and attention. Just as a tree does not rush the growth of its branches, we must respect our own rhythm. It is in this stillness that we find clarity, a moment of introspection that allows us to recognize what needs to be adjusted or abandoned. Growth is not linear. It is a dance between advances and setbacks, between lights and shadows. An essential element of this path is self-acceptance. Growing up doesn't mean denying who we are, but embracing our essence as we work to expand our horizons. It's like painting a canvas where the most vibrant colors coexist with the softest tones, each contributing to the depth of the work. Recognizing our vulnerabilities, far from being a weakness, is a manifestation of strength. Accepting them makes us more human, more connected with the reality of our existence. Self-growth is also an exercise in resilience. He calls us to persist in the face of adversity, to see challenges as opportunities in disguise. When we stumble, it is not the end, but an invitation to rise with greater determination. With each fall, we learn something new, strengthen our roots, and prepare to weather future storms. It is in this continuous cycle of trying and learning that the greatest lessons lie. Furthermore, a focus on self-growth implies a constant search for knowledge and understanding. It's not just about accumulating information, but about integrating wisdom into the way we live. Every book read, every meaningful conversation, and every experience we have become bricks that build the foundation of our development. There is no such thing as small learning. Everything contributes to the expansion of our worldview. Another crucial aspect is the practice of self-compassion. Being kind to yourself in times of difficulty is as vital as being disciplined. The path to growth is full of obstacles, and blaming yourself for every stumble only makes the journey harder. Self-compassion allows us to embrace our imperfections with tenderness. Remember that failing is part of the process, and that even when we fall, we are making progress. Self-growth is not an isolated effort. It finds greater meaning when shared. As we grow, our transformation affects those around us, creating an impact that reverberates beyond us. It's like throwing a stone into a calm lake. The circles that form touch the shores, inspiring others to embark on their own journeys. Personal growth thus becomes a gift not only for ourselves, but for the community that surrounds us. Finally, by focusing on self-growth, we discover a type of freedom that cannot be found in external achievements. It is a liberation from imposed expectations, insecurities, and doubts that hold us hostage. This growth allows us to walk lightly, with a quiet confidence that does not need to be proclaimed. We become, at the same time, sculptors and sculptures, continually shaping and being shaped by life. These 9 attitudes are more than strategies. They are a way of life. Adopting Stoicism transforms the way you deal with disrespect and reinforces your inner peace. Did you like these tips? Subscribe to the channel, leave your like and activate the bell so you don't miss more content like this. See you in the next video. FAQs 1. What is Stoicism? Stoicism is a practical philosophy that teaches how to live virtuously, dealing with adversity with serenity and wisdom. 2. How to apply Stoicism in everyday life. You can apply Stoicism by reflecting on what is in your control and practicing accepting what is not. 3. What should I do when someone disrespects me? Use the 9 attitudes presented in this video. Stay calm, practice silence, and show empathy. 4. Does Stoicism encourage passivity? No. Stoicism encourages actions based on reason and virtue, without impulsive reactions. 5. Who were the main Stoic thinkers? The main thinkers were Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, and Zeno of Citium. Disarming those who don't respect you is an art, and Stoicism teaches us how to master it wisely. In this video, you will discover 9 powerful attitudes that will transform the way you deal with challenging situations. From practicing indifference to focusing on self-growth, each strategy was inspired by the teachings of great Stoic thinkers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. Here, we talk about Stoic philosophy, personal growth, resilience, and how to apply these principles in everyday life. This content is for those looking wisdom, serenity, and want to develop a strong and balanced mindset. Don't miss the chance to transform your life with these timeless lessons. Watch now and discover how Stoicism can be your best tool for facing challenges and growing as a person. Video tags: Stoicism, philosophy, personal development, personal growth, serenity, resilience, mental health, meditation, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, reflection, wisdom, Stoic discipline, life lessons. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and share this video with those who need to diffuse difficult situations with class and wisdom.